Hey, what's up, Drivetrain? Welcome back to another video. Today's video, we're talking about decimal gearing. All right, so super excited today to get a package from Identify BMX. I'm gonna put a link to their social media down in the description. If you haven't heard about Identify, they're in the market making gearing as well as some other drivetrain components. I thought, hey, that's perfect for a channel called The Drivetrain. Anyway, I reached out to Identify. Shout out to those guys because they gave me an opportunity to pick up a new gear for my bike, and they helped me out a little bit on the price so that I can tell you guys about this. Now, this is gonna be an unbiased opinion. That's how all of my reviews are, but I wanna give you an opportunity to see what we're talking about now. In a previous video, which I'll link up here and in the description, I talked about gearing and gear ratios and all the different things that you can think about when you think about the front sprocket and the rear cog or freewheel if you've got an older ride. And so it's kind of neat to play with the gearing. Now, typically speaking, when people get onto a bike, they're running a standard gear. Nowadays, 2025, that standard gear is a 44 sprocket up front and a 16 tooth cog in the back. And that's kind of what comes on bikes, so it's what a bunch of the pros ride. If you get to where you are riding really fast and you feel like you're just spinning, can't go any faster, then you've got to work on your pedaling mechanics. If you're an older guy like me, a lot of times we end up with a whole bunch more power in our legs, and what we end up doing is wanting to pedal less. We don't want to spin. We want to go whoom, whoom, whoom. Just a few big, strong pedals and have that bike moving. So let me take you on a little bit of a backstory here. When I raced in the 90s, I was on, I think, a 43 or 44 16. Then I got a really cool wheel set that had a flip-flop hub, my TNT Derringers. And so I went ahead and went with a smaller gearing, thinking smaller gear, smaller freewheel, smaller chain, saves weight, right? And even though I was riding like a 30-pound bike at the time, but anyway, I was conscious about weight. So I ran like a 41-14, something like that. Now, you fast forward, everybody nowadays rides 44-16. When I came back to racing and riding a bike in 2020, on a 20-inch bike, I had a 44-16. That got me started. Then I bumped up to a 45-16. That felt a little bit better. Eventually, when I started racing, I had a 46-16. I was deadlifting a bunch of weight, I was squatting a bunch all the time, and I had a lot of power. But I'll tell you, I couldn't get out of the gate to save my life. Now, my track speed was phenomenal. I pedaled one time coming out of the turn, and boom, I was flying. But 46-16 is just not ideal. So I bumped back down and got my racing under check and went ahead and rode a 45-16 for a long time. I love that gear, but I was still a little sluggish. Once I got to the expert level, I was sluggish coming out of the gate. Everybody else was running 44, maybe even a 43-16. And so I didn't have the spin to get out of the gate. And so I was always making up ground, trying to play catch up around the track. Now, the next year, so I rode 45-16 all one year. The next year, I went down to a 44. I said, I'm gonna work on my spin. That's what I'm gonna do. So I put on a 44-16. And my gates got better. Who would have thought? My speed coming out of the turns suffered sometimes, and I felt like if I wasn't in the lead, it was really hard for me to make up ground coming out. And so I thought, man, wouldn't it be awesome if I could find something that was like a 44.5? And that's where Identify BMX comes in. They are on the market now making quarter size, half size, and 3/4 size gearing. Now, there's science behind it. Science! And I don't understand any of it, really. We're gonna take a look at this fun package here that I just got in the mail. We're gonna open it up. It is still sealed. And we're gonna take a look at the sprocket that I've got here and talk about it. I'll say this, they outdid themselves in the packaging. You've got a package with a package inside of it that's a box. So excuse me. Aha! And then wrapped. Awesome. Look at this thing, huh? This thing, hello there. This thing is the Identify BMX sprocket. They have kind of the little alien eyes kind of look right here. That's kind of their signature thing. This is a 44.5. It's stamped on the back, if I can get that. There, I think it focused now. So it's a 44.5. Look at that. That's exactly what I wanted like 3 years ago. And they finally came out with it. Now, I've been riding a different gear recently, and so I'm excited to give this thing a test. This is made out of super strong aluminum. It's I think it's the 7000 series aluminum, just like most of the other chain rings, Renin, or the other big brands that people run. So it's really sturdy and strong. This is threaded, which I love having threaded chain rings. It helps, I feel like it helps with aligning it inside of the spider and getting it set up. One other thing you're gonna notice here is, look at the teeth. See how these teeth are pretty sharp? The way I understand it is they take a 44 and they bump it up some. So this little rim where your chain lives on gets bumped up some, making it 44.5. Now they have to keep the teeth in the same spot, so it's like a 44 up here when it goes onto the chain. And therefore, you've got these kind of bigger flat sections in the middle up here that are where your chain lives, and you just got this little bit of a tooth there. So I've got another friend who's been riding this for a while. I reached out to him. He was running Vet Pro for a little bit. He's fast, and he said he's been riding them and had no problems, so I thought, man, let's give this thing a shot. Now, enough talking. I will say this, public service announcement. When you get a new chain ring, you should also get yourself a new chain, which I've got a half-link chain in here, and you should get yourself a new cog. And so that's what I've got. I've got a chain ring, a cog, and a new chain. And so I'm ready to set up. I'm not gonna walk you through the process of me building this onto the bike, but in a second, for you, we'll have this stuff all set up on the bike.
Riders ready, watch the gate.
All right, y'all, so it has been 6 months since I put this sprocket, this cog, and this chain on the bike, raced as much as I could at the end of the season. And I'll just say, even you saw those gates right there, this thing has held up amazing. It's doing what you expect, right? It's a 44.5 in the front. So you got the decimal gearing, which gives you kind of the rotational expectation of a 44, but you get a little extra rollout, not quite a 45, but we were looking for something in the middle. So shout out to Identify BMX, great product. This thing is held up, and we'll zoom in here and take a peek at the teeth. After 6 months of pretty hard riding and doing gait practice and sprints and everything, it hasn't budged. A lot of times you'll see little ridges that come up on your sprockets, and that's just because of the pressure, the torque that you're putting on it to spin that chain around. And I think also the half-link chain is a little bit beefier than a standard chain, and so they're, I guess, working in tandem here to give a good outcome. But this thing has held up great. I'm excited to jump back into this season. We start up in just a couple weeks and put some laps down. In fact, I'm hoping to get a little riding today if the weather holds off. The snow has melted. The track's gonna be a little spongy, and I'm not trying to go full out. I just need to get on the bike and ride. Anyway, let me know, what gear are you riding? Let me know down in the comments. What gear are you riding? Maybe crank arm length for those that want to geek out over that. For the official, if you didn't see my bike review, I'm running 175s, a 44.5, and then a 16 in the back If you really want to nitpick, it's the Airy Sun 20 by 1.75 in the back. I'm going to be switching my tubes out before this season comes, but that'll be a different video. But for now, thanks again to Identify for helping get me this product to test out. Hopefully you found this video helpful. And if you're looking for new gearing, check out the Identify BMX website to find out what's best for you. That's it. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. We'll catch you guys on the next video. Peace.